On returning to Castle Oblivion's halls, a hooded figure waits for Sora, Donald, and Goofy. He gives them a slow clap. He patronizes them and says that he didn't think they'd make it past the first floor. His voice sounds different, and upon closer inspection, he looks leaner. He takes off his hood and reveals blood-red hair. A strange newcomer says that he wanted to take a look for himself. He introduces himself as Axel and uses his catchphrase. Sora asks him if he's friends with the other hooded figure. Axel laughs. No, they're not friends, but they are on the same team. They even have matching jerseys. Sora, Donald, and Goofy put up their guard. Axel laughs again. He pulls out his weapons and fire starts to erupt all around him. He makes a joke about warming up. Axel drops onto the floor. His body lies motionless in front of the trio. As Sora and the other two relax their guard, they hear Axel congratulate them. Axel steps into view and walks towards his double. He gives a backhanded compliment on their teamwork. He then stomps on the head of his duplicate. He tells them that they can't trust their eyes in this place. Donald cries out a challenge. He's flustered and readies himself for a second round. Axel pulls out his chakrams, but before either side could restart the fight, a hand holds Axel back. It's the same hooded figure that welcomed them into the castle and stole Kyrie's charm. He asks Axel what he's doing in a harsh tone. Axel says that he was just having fun and seeing what a keyblade can actually do. Axel then throws Sora a card. He tells Sora that he'll need it to find his girlfriend. Sora sputters, embarrassed. Axel tells Sora that he should show her that face when they meet. The mysterious men both disappear in a haze of black. Sora distresses over the thought of Kyrie being in the castle. Goofy comes over and tells him that Axel said that you can't trust what you see, and maybe that applies to what they say. Sora agrees weakly. Sora holds up the card to the door. They move forward despite their unease. While going up the Disney floors, instead of them losing their memories, Donald and Goofy tell stories to Sora about the king. They talk about their memories with him and reference a few Disney cartoons. In turn, they also ask about Riku, so Sora talks about their childhood. They often played with the other kids on the island. It was a peaceful childhood, but they all yearned for adventure, so they kept play fighting and having contests to polish their skills. Sora makes a remark that if anyone would have been chosen by the Keyblade, it would have been Riku since he was always on top. Donald tells Sora that Riku was an asshole in the first game. Sora tells him that Riku could be harsh, but he was never like that on the island. Goofy says that even if that were true, Sora was still able to save all those worlds, so the Keyblade had chosen well. Sora thanks Goofy. He continues that those dreams of adventure were intensified when Kyrie came into the picture. Riku was especially interested in where she came from. Now that they've finally got off the islands, it's ironic that what he wants to do most is find Riku and bring him back. Donald and Goofy give him words of encouragement. With a refreshed confidence, Sora continues climbing up Castle Oblivion. Vexen talks to Lexaeus about Vexen's experiment. Since Sora is here, the experiment is redundant and could potentially be dangerous. He wonders if the others might feel the same way. Larxene and Axel observe Sora through the orb that they're pondering. Excuse me. Larxene notes Axel's interest in Sora. He says that he reminds him of someone annoying. Larxene asks him for details, but he evades and says that his memory is fuzzy. Larxene asks him if he's fine with her playing with his toy. Axel shrugs, playing it cool. However, he does warn her not to go too far. They still need Sora. Larxene reassures him as Axel hands her a card. Larxene tells quote-unquote Kyrie to come along with her. Elsewhere, Riku sees another of his reflections upon arriving on a higher floor. He confidently says that another doppelganger isn't going to stand in his way. He moves in to strike it down, but is surprised to see it deflect him. The reflection laughs as he says that he's different from the others. He is the culmination of all the data gathered from Riku. But unlike the original, this Riku is untainted by darkness. After a hard-fought battle, Reflection Riku begins to lose ground. Vexen appears and orders him to retreat. Reflection Riku says that he still has some fight left, but Vexen tells him that he's still a work in progress. He has another specimen that he wants to sample and that his experiment is beginning to reach its final stages. After they retreat, Riku wonders about what Vexen meant by another specimen. Larxene appears before the Gummy Boys. She taunts Sora by bringing quote-unquote Kairi with her. The hooded man wasn't lying. Sora rushes to reach her, but Larxene blocks him with a bolt of lightning. Kairi apologizes weakly and doesn't say much of anything else. Sora fights Larxene. But before the fight can go further, she retreats while taunting him. Sora is frustrated. Why was that blonde with the antennas such a bitch? Donald and Goofy try to calm him down. Despite that terrible encounter, they convince him to keep on going. Axel finds Larxene returning to their room. He teases her and they have a little spat about Larxene losing to Sora. Vexen also shows up and proposes to use his project. Larxene dismisses the Reflection Riku as just another pipsqueak, but realizes that the torment Sora would be subjected to when his friend attacks him again would be delicious. After getting out of another memory of a Disney World, Sora runs into Riku. He is overjoyed to find him alive. Before he could run to him, Riku draws his weapon and attacks. Donald and Goofy step in to protect Sora. It's a repeat of Hollow Bastion. Sora tries to reason with him, but he continues the attack. After exchanging blows, Riku steps back and looks away as if hearing something that the group can't. He retreats, leaving the three confused. Sora's frustration grows. Losing Kairi to Larxene was bad enough, but now Riku is his enemy again. He's back to square one. Donald and Goofy cut in before Sora spirals into despair and say that he might not have been the real Riku, just like Traverse Town and their fight with Axel. The real Riku could still be out there. Sora agrees and they continue. The hooded figure who welcomed Sora and his friends to the castle reveals his face for the first time. Marluxia goes to speak to Vexen. He orders Vexen to dispose of his experiments, but Vexen insists on keeping them as they'll bear fruit soon. Marluxia threatens him that his orders are absolute and not to test his patience. Vexen makes a display of obedience. Marluxia says that Sora is all they need to fulfill their objective. Progressing further into the castle, Sora encounters Vexen. Sora prepares to fight another weirdo in a black cloak, but Vexen wants to chat before they go at it. He brings up something interesting. He asks Sora that if he was chosen by the Keyblade, who were the previous chosen ones and what happened to them? The trio are caught off guard by the question. He tells them that there are many mysteries in the world and that the Keyblade's origins are one of them. As a scientist, it's his duty to indulge his curiosity. Speaking of which, Vexen attacks the group. As the battle concludes, Vexen takes out a card from the data he siphoned from Sora and the Keyblade. He says that the Keyblade is still connected to the previous wielder, and that card could recreate their memories with the castle's powers. Finished with this monologue, he disappears through the door. Goofy wonders if they should follow him, but the group don't see any other way to proceed. Meanwhile, Axel is called to where Marluxia is. He's ordered to exterminate Vexen by their acting leader. Axel asks for an explanation, and Marluxia tells him that Dark Seekers and Heartless only have one objective, and that's to submerge Kingdom Hearts into darkness. Vexen is treading on grounds that are deviant from that path. Axel is about to say something but thinks better of it. He agrees and departs for Vexen. On another floor, Lexaeus blocks Riku's path. Riku immediately prepares for battle, but the towering bulk just gives him an amused laugh. He says that Riku is a kindred spirit. He can tell that they both love to fight and are good at it. They also seek greater heights. Riku asks him what he's on about. Lexaeus draws his weapon and declares that he will play the role of teacher and obstacle to draw out Riku's potential. The battle against Lexaeus is the most difficult for Riku so far. He is pushed to the brink. With no other option, he allows himself to use darkness. After Riku defeats Lexaeus, Lexaeus smiles and tells him that he didn't expect that much talent in wielding darkness from someone other than himself. He says that it would be a shame to lose such a talented one if he were to succumb to his own power and lose himself. He tells him that light and darkness are two sides of the same coin. Like a fire, it can both be dangerous but useful. In the darkness of the earth can new life spring or be smothered. Lexaeus perishes but promises to meet again. Riku had fought with his life on the line, but he felt that Lexaeus was still holding back. A bitter victory. Riku continues on and thinks that somehow Lexaeus got whatever it is he wanted. Sora goes through an unfamiliar town as he searches for Vexen and the exit. An isolated place on the outskirts draws him in. He finds Vexen at the gate of a mansion. Vexen looks manic and out of sorts. He attacks them with no dialogue this time. Vexen gives them a desperate struggle but cuts it short as he sends the last of his data to his lab. He relaxes a little as he finishes, but it doesn't last long. Sora turns to find Axel. He yells at him, "Weren't they comrades?" Axel just sadly reminds him that they're not friends, just playing on the same team. He comments to Sora that if Vexen treaded lightly, he might not have been disposed of. Axel leaves a downcast Sora. And that's a good place to stop. Whew, boy, we're only at the halfway point. If you're feeling impatient the next time I upload, it's going to be the final part because honestly, there's no breaks in the story after this. Well, thanks for watching this far. I hope to see you guys in the final part of Chain of Memories. See ya!